If I ask you 10 generations ago how your grandmothers looked like, do you remember? More complicated activities happening here than here. Educated people are the most stressful people on the planet. My great-grandmother lived to be 113. That's not the only achievement she had. People started saying, she's a devil of a woman. Devil is a laughing one. God is a dead serious one. It's your choice. Thoughts are very rudimentary stuff in human life, this must be understood, I'm sorry. Such a loving, joyful, exuberant human being that nobody could stop suddenly became a wreck. The fear of suffering is what has crippled humanity. You saw a glorious sunset, you just sat there without knowing why. To be prayerful is a fantastic place to be. Prayer means you're talking to somebody, a long-distance talk. Is just about, dear God, give me this, give me that, save me, protect me. So give me this, give me that, save me, protect me. Does it seem like a divine process to you or does it seem like survival process outsourced? To survive on this planet, you don't need any divine help. Listening is a dangerous thing. People who claimed they heard God speaking, they did the most terrible things on this planet. Especially as women, you should not subscribe to this. Women had a certain quality of waiting which made them very special. In today's educated world, what people think is mind is a combination of memory and intelligence, isn't it so? Memory and your ability to concoct something out of what you remember, the data that you have and what you make out of it and use it, now you're considered smart, isn't it? Let's start with memory. See, if I ask you 10 generations ago how your grandmothers looked like, do you remember? No. But your great-great-great-grandmother's nose is sitting on your face right now. Your body remembers or no? Your body remembers or no? How your skin tone was 1,000,000 years ago for your forefathers, your body still remembers, yes or no? So in terms of memory, what your body carries is trillions of times more than what your brain can ever carry, yes or no?
Yes.
The complexity of activity that are happening in a single molecule of DNA, with all your brains you can't figure it, yes or no? More complicated activities happening here than here, yes? So, this is a body of intelligence. The question is, can you employ it or do you just run on one thing? In the yogic sciences, we look at human intelligence as 16 parts. So this is like a 16-wheeled truck, but you choose to drive it on one wheel. Very strenuous. So you will see educated people are the most stressful people on the planet because they are driving a 16-wheel truck on one wheel, very difficult. Their intellect, their thought is the only damn thing they're trying to use and it's very difficult. My great-grandmother lived to be 113.
Wow.
Okay That's not the only achievement she had. She got married when she was 14. And those days in India, an unmarried girl cannot use tobacco. But once she is married, she is free to use tobacco. So on the first day, she exercised her right to use tobacco. And she lived in a certain way. People started saying, she's a devil of a woman. Not because she did any harm to anybody, simply because if she laughed, the whole street shook. Like that she laughed. Those days, in those societies, women were not supposed to laugh loudly, they're supposed to laugh in a controlled way. Only street women laughed loudly, family women laughed very… So people said she laughs like a devil. Always, unfortunately, this is the whole thing, the devil is a laughing one, God is a dead serious one. It's your choice. So, she lived wild. Wild means At the age of 67 or 68, she lost her husband, and then she decided, this is a very large land-owning family. So she moved out from the family and built a small temple with her own hands in somebody else's land. Somebody else means another family's land, not without permission, with their permission, but she was family's disgrace because this family owns hundreds and hundreds of acres of land and she sets up her stupid temple in somebody else's land, the whole family, oh my God, she's ashamed. And she built a temple, not for any god, she sat there. She is the main piece. No god, she just sat there and people started visiting her. And slowly, this following grew for her and she'll just live there. When we went there for vacation, she would come to see us. She was an incredible woman, she just captured me in a certain way simply because one thing, she laughed. Another thing, when I met her, she was over 100 years of age and her hair, full hair below her knees. She would leave her hair loose and dance like that. So I just liked… she was freaky. With her you could do anything, nothing was wrong. With everybody else is constantly trying to tell you what's right, what's wrong, what's right, what's wrong. With this one woman you could do what you want, and she was fine. And sometimes, she would be crying and laughing at the same time. And I asked, what's happening with you? Are you crazy? Everybody says you're crazy. Why are you crying and laughing at the same time? She would just burst into a hoot of laughter and say, someday you will know, and she would laugh. And I would see her like this. If they give her breakfast, she first goes and feeds the ants, then the sparrows, then the squirrels. Most of her breakfast is over in this. And people, self-appointed advisors, they come and say, you old woman, you just don't eat anything, you will die like this. All these advisors died, but she lived and lived. She buried her husband, her children, her grandchildren, some of her great-grandchildren, but she lived on. And many times I've seen her, after having fed the ants and everything, she would simply sit there, not even eating this little breakfast she has, tears flowing down her cheeks. And I would ask her, what's wrong with you? Because, I thought she's very emotional about the ants because I was 5, 6 years of age, I was going stamping the ants and she was so emotional, she never stopped me from even killing the ants, though she was feeding them. And then I asked, what's wrong with you, why? She said, she would say, I'm full. I don't know what the hell she was talking. It took me another 20 years to realize what she was talking about. So for me, she became the symbol of feminism for me. She was the ultimate woman because she fulfilled everything that she's expected to fulfill, but she was never a part of that nonsense. She was always beyond that. And this is because not you have great thoughts. Thoughts are very rudimentary stuff in human life, this must be understood, I'm sorry. Because I'm being introduced as a thought leader, I'm getting scared of that. See, thought is happening only from the limited data that you have gathered in your head, isn't it so? But there is something more phenomenal happening all across, isn't it? Hello? The intelligence of the creation is functioning right now here, is it or not? If you can transform a piece of bread into a human being, that means the very intelligence of the source of creation is throbbing within you right now. Instead of identifying with that, we are unfortunately getting identified with what we accumulate, with the car we have, with the house we have, with the relationships we have, with the body we have, with the accumulated knowledge that we have. We have gotten identified with things that we have acquired rather than being identified with the source of who we are. So this is what consciousness means, but this will not come by thinking differently. You must touch that dimension beyond physiological and psychological process. We can start with a very simple process. which today tens of millions of people are practicing across the world. I brought this out because, when I was just about maybe 2.5 or around 2.5 years of age, my mother, her health was not good. So they sent me to my aunt's place who lived in my grandfather's house. My aunt was just married and she was only 18 years of age. She was that bubbly, joyful, loving human being that you can't stop her for a moment. And she took me in as her own and we became great friends. I was there for nearly 2 years maybe, but after that I came back to my parents, but I always developed that close relationship with her, not of an aunt, but we became buddies right through our life. Then a time came and her life went on like normal, marriage good, children cute, and the boy got educated and went somewhere and the girl got married as she wished and grandchildren came, everything wonderful. Then she got some ailment. Then she knew in the next 2 years she's going to die, max 2 years. Then I saw this wonderful human being deteriorating into nothing. Total mess she became. This such a loving, joyful, exuberant human being that nobody could stop suddenly became a wreck. I just looked at her. I was into too much travels here and there, I tried to catch up with her, but nothing much could be done with her because she just shattered. I just looked at her and saw the only problem with her is she knew two things, her physiological structure and her psychological structure. She managed it well and kept herself loving, joyful, wonderful, everything. The moment she realized these two things are going to end, she's finished. At that time I thought, this is something that needs to happen. So we started what is called as, in Tamil Nadu, we started this Urusuttu Anmikam. This means one drop spirituality. Everybody must have at least a drop of something which is beyond your body, which is beyond your mind, something within you which is not a concoction of your mind. A place to stand beyond physiological and psychological process must be there in every life. As a part of this, we launched what is called today being practiced by many people. Is anybody practicing Isha Kriya here? Yeah. This is a simple process. Initially, it looks like a psychological process because people can't keep their mind aside, they have to use it in some way. So we are going through the psychological process, but if you go deep enough into it, if you sit here, your body will be here, your mind will be there, what is you is little away from that. Once there is a little distance between you and your body, between you and your mind, this is the end of suffering. Because human suffering happens only on two different levels, physiological suffering, psychological suffering. Do you know any other kind of suffering? Hello?
No.
Physical suffering, mental suffering, this is all. Once there is a distance between you and your body, between you and your mind, this is the end of suffering. This must happen to you not at the end of your life, at the very beginning of your life, because the fear of suffering is what has crippled humanity. A human being has not explored the full depth and dimension of who they are simply because of the fear of suffering. What will happen to me? What will happen to me? Is always the concern, isn't it? Suppose you came to this kind of ease, that if you sit here, whatever the hell happens to me, this is how I will be. If this assurance and ease came into your life, then you would explore life in many more ways than you're doing it right now, isn't it so? This needs to happen. If we want to unleash human genius on this planet, the fear of suffering has to go. For that to go, you must know something beyond your physiological and psychological structures. See, there is something called as organized prayer, and there is something that all of us may experience at some point. You don't have to be religious for this. Sometimes you become prayerful. You saw a glorious sunset, you just sat there, without knowing why. You're not saying anything to the sun, after all he's going. Simply, just the beauty and the magnificent nature of what it is, maybe your hands came together like this, something you did. It happens, right? So you are prayerful. To be prayerful is a fantastic place to be. Now somebody created systems to make you prayerful, but unfortunately that just became prayer for a lot of people. Prayer means you're talking to somebody, a long distance talk. And unfortunately, if you look at the prayers on the planet, I would say 95% of the prayers on the planet, whatever kind of religion they belong to, is just about, dear God, give me this, give me that, save me, protect me. Is that so?
Yes.
So give me this, give me that, save me, protect me. Does it seem like a divine process to you, or does it seem like survival process outsourced?
Yes. It's so true. It's very true.
So, outsourcing your survival is not an efficient way to survive. To survive on this planet, you don't need any divine help. You just need 4 limbs and a few brain cells that work. That's all you need to survive. You don't need any other forces to come and cooperate with you for survival. Only when your life is beyond survival, you're looking for other dimensions of existence, then you may need the cooperation of other forces. For survival, when a worm can survive, an insect can survive, a bird can survive, an animal can survive, with such a big brain you cannot survive, what is this? The only problem may be you want to survive like somebody else, that is a problem. That's not going to be ever achieved, because somebody else will always be doing something different or better or whatever you think it is. So, prayer as a process, unfortunately, has become talking process. So being in meditation, see, the English word meditation is not specific to anything, it's a general term. If somebody sits here with eyes closed, we say they're meditating. But with eyes closed, you can do many things. Or you might have just mastered the art of sleeping in vertical postures. That is also an art. So, the word… English word meditation is not describing anything specific. But as you said one word, listening. Listening is a dangerous thing, because if you start listening, people will think, listen to what? Listen to God. All those people, I'm saying with this all due respect, so those who are devout, those who are prayerful, that's a different matter. But people who claimed they heard God speaking, they did the most terrible things on this planet. Yes or no? Because they said, God told me this, God told me that, it gave them license to do all kinds of horrors on this planet. And especially as women, you should not subscribe to this because millions of women have been burnt alive because God told something, okay? So, listening is a dangerous word. If you take these words literally, prayer, listening, all these things can become ugly because people always have this thing about, what is my experience of life? I translate everything according to that, isn't it? Whatever is told to me, I will translate it within the limitations of my experience of life. With this, if you say, listen, they must listen to somebody. Whom should I listen to? God or devil? Please listen to God. Then he starts talking. So, listening is a quality. In yoga, we call this being a sati. Oh, that's very wonderful, because sati also means a woman. Sati also means a wife. So we call this satipattana. Have you heard this word? Anapana sati yoga. This means just to wait upon something. because they saw in ancient societies, women had a certain quality of waiting which made them very special. Because it's not like today, if a man goes out every 7 minutes, you can keep track of him, you can put a GPS tag on him, where is he going, what is he doing. Every 7 minutes he has to message back where he is. Those days, either on business or war or expedition, they went out. You never know whether they're going to come back or not come back. You're holding children and sitting here with all kinds of forces around you, and everybody knows your man may not come back. It's always possible he won't come back. But they waited. That waiting had a very special quality because in waiting there is an eternal quality. In doing, all doing has a beginning and an end, isn't it?
Yes.
Waiting has an eternal quality. So this quality in the yoga we refer to as sati. Sati means wife and a woman. The feminine is called sati, and this is the quality of waiting. In a way, it's listening. You're just willing to be with life. Now you understand it's not all about messing with it. There are some things we do and rest we wait. It's like pregnancy. Some things you did, rest you wait.